Oh, hey guys, here's the deal. I know that there's a good chunk of people that are watching this that are going to be frustrated with me. And you know what? It is what it is. I've been trying to think about what word I would use to describe what my heart is feeling right now in this season. And I think the word I would use that most accurately describes what I'm feeling right now is this word grieved. Grieved, and not because of the actions of politicians, not because of the election, not because of masks and COVID and the pandemic and all the other stuff that we potentially could get stressed about in this season. I think the main reason why I'm grieved right now is the actions of my fellow Christians. Those that are in Christ's family, not of a certain political persuasion. I am frustrated and grieved at my Christian friends that lean heavily to the right. I'm frustrated at a lot of my Christian friends that lean heavily to the left. Because your posture and the things that you're doing and saying put me in a really interesting predicament, not only as a Christ follower, but as a pastor. And on one side, those of you guys that know me well know that I'm a unity guy. I love unity, not uniformity, but unity, which means that unified in the midst of diversity, that it's the diversity that actually makes something beautiful. It's the multiple fragmentation of a diamond that makes it beautiful, way more beautiful than a plane of glass, right? But so I don't want uniformity. And when you have diversity, you're going to have disagreement. But disagreement does not have to become division, that you can actually disagree civilly. Like the church should be a symbol, a bright star of diversity and unity, right? Jesus didn't pray for our sameness. Jesus prayed for our oneness in the Garden of Gethsemane, right? And the church is so divided. We've taken disagreement and we've made it into division. Now, hear me, the election is so important. Nally and I voted, I think the day after we got our ballots, and we did mail-in vote, but we know the election is important because that platform of leadership is important. My leadership position, your leadership position, it matters. And the leadership position at the highest level of the free world of our country is important too. But what we've done too many times is we've turned a platform into a pedestal. And those are two very different things. So I believe the election is important. But we've allowed disagreement to cause division. And we've made enemies out of family members, out of neighbors, out of people in our church or other churches. And here's the thing, if you're not a Christian right now, I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to my friends who profess to be Christians. What I'm asking you to do, what I'm challenging you to do, what I'm begging and praying for you to do, if you call yourself a Christ follower, is to just live as if that were actually true. Is to live as if that were actually true. I remember reading verses where Jesus would talk about, love your enemies. And I remember reading those in high school and going, what does that even mean? Like, I don't have any enemies. I have people that I don't like in school, or we have our rival schools from a different sports team that we will play football against or something. I wouldn't call them my enemies. This year, I get it. Because if you are of one political persuasion, the media, the friends, the social media all say the people that believe in the other candidate, the people that believe the other thing, they're your enemy. Your guy is right. The other guy's an idiot. Your position in your tribe is right. The other tribe are morons. They're your enemies. And here, let's just think about that. Let's just pretend that we're true. Say they are your enemies. Take it to that extreme. I think that's pretty extreme. But say that that is true. Say they are your enemies. Here's what Jesus said. Jesus said that your enemies, love them. Your enemies, pray for them. Jesus would tell stories where the enemies of the people, like the Samaritans to the Jews, he would make them heroes. He would make them the heroes of the story. Jesus, when he was wrongfully tried, when the people in power could help him, but they instead hurt him, when the Pharisees executed him or led people to execute him when Pilate could have helped him. Those leaders hurt him. Those were enemies. But what did Jesus do to those enemies? First of all, he was silent. He didn't fight back, but also what he did was he prayed for them. In the middle of being hurt, legitimately hurt, he prayed for his enemies. In the middle of being hurt, he took care. He pastored people. He said, John, Mary is now your mother. Mary, John is now your son. Take care of each other. He pastored the thief to the side of him. He took care of people. He didn't try to put hope in a person or a party or in leadership. And if someone disagrees with you and you would call them your enemy because they vote differently or believe differently from you, what Jesus would say is pray for them. Jesus would say love them. And here's the deal. I know that's super hard to do. And I'm not diminishing the hurt and the harm that can be caused if the person in leadership doesn't lead well. But you cannot control what someone else does. You can only control your response to what they do. So Jesus gave his life for his enemies. And then he asked his followers to do the same. And so the disciples did. So the apostles did. So hundreds, if not thousands of people in the early church followed his example and gave their lives for their enemies. You see this over and over again. So following Jesus is really hard. And it's supposed to be. Following Jesus is really unnatural. And it's supposed to be. So here's what I challenge you to do. And I know, I started this out by saying that some of you guys can be really frustrated with me. I'm okay with that. What I want people to do is, if you're not a Christ follower, it's whatever right now. That's not who I'm talking to. But if you call yourself a Christ follower, then my challenge to you is to live as if that were actually true. So, who would you say your enemy is right now? Think of actual names. Maybe it's a politician. Maybe it's a person who tweeted this at you or put this on Facebook or put this on Instagram or is supporting this rally in town or is marching or not marching. Think of a specific name, not a group, not a character type. Think of the actual names of people that you would consider to be the enemy of what you believe. Write their name down. And here's what here's what Jesus would say to do. Pray for them. Pray for them. I know you look at me going, Taka, that is so simplistic. You got your head in the sand or you got your head somewhere else. I get it. But Jesus said, pray for them. Take that name that you wrote down or the names that you wrote down that you are frustrated, you're ticked off at them because of X, Y, Z. Could you pray that God would help you love them? The mission statement of our church, Voice Church, is that we would be a Christ collective, means a group of people around the idea of Christ, following Christ, that lives by faith, that is known by love and is a voice of hope. Known by love. I don't want anybody who calls Voice Church to be known by what we protest, known by what we boycott, known by the things that we are spitting on social media. Known by love. Known by love. So that's my challenge to you. It's my challenge to you. If you follow Christ, then follow Christ. And he says to love your enemy. And here's the thing. You won't naturally do it. You'll most naturally be offended easily. And depending on the echo chamber that you've created around social media, following and unfollowing certain people so you only see and hear voices that reinforce what you already believe, that stir up the anger that you already have, that shut out the voices of the other side, that we push back on all that. We may need to take a break from social media and just stop and just say, Jesus, would you help me? If you can love those that were literally executing you, and if you told us to love our enemy, God, would you help me to love those that are my enemies today? Our nation is divided. The church is divided. Christians, please do not bring dishonor to Jesus' name by the way you're acting. Some of you guys, lovingly said, are acting like morons. You're arrogant, not humble. You're dismissive, not curious. You're more concerned with being an American than you are with being a follower of Christ. And can I tell you, you're not bringing shame to your name. You're dishonoring the Jesus that you say you follow. And I can't help but think that Jesus is looking back on the way we're acting right now, Christians. And he's saying, don't act like that, guys. I'm not like that. Don't make them think I'm like that, because when you act that way, when you post that, when you comment like that, they're going to think that I'm like that, and I'm not like that. Can I challenge you? If you're going to call yourself a Christ follower, act as if that were true. Act in a way that if someone were to watch your actions and then read the Gospels, they would say, yeah, that's the way they're like. That's what they're like. I think there are a lot of people leaving the church right now because of the way we're acting. A divided nation needs a united church. So church, can we be united? Not on a policy, not on a person, not on a party, but we don't have to be united on a mask policy, but can we be united around Christ? And the Bible is very clear. Jesus is very clear. Love your enemies. He said that anybody can love those who agree with them. Your faith will be known by how you love your enemies. So again, here's my challenge to you. I double dog dare you. Write down the names of people you think are morons right now. Maybe it's me. Maybe you're watching this going, you're the moron talking, to write down your name. Okay, great. Awesome. Then pray for me. Pray for those people that you think are idiots, that you would call your enemies right now. Pray blessing on their life. Pray, God, would you bless them? God, would you help me to love them? Help me to understand them. Anyway, I've gone too long. I love you guys. Please follow Jesus for real. All right? Quit talking like you do. Quit making Jesus look stupid. Follow Jesus so that when people watch your life, they go, yeah, that's what Jesus is actually like. All right? Love you guys. We can do better. We are better than this because Jesus is worth exemplifying better than this. All right. Peace, guys.